Action Comics number 1085 and 86 witnessed an epic confrontation between Superman and the super robot known as Kilgore. Clark goes to Greenland on a mission instead of Lois, to interview scientists who had a problem and needed help. Upon his arrival, the scientists ask Clark if he brought the equipment they ordered, but Clark says that he's just a reporter from the Daily Planet, who came instead of Lois, who had to stay behind to cover some breaking news. Dr. Pierce and Dr. Addison welcome Clark into their research center, where they explain that they have a serious problem, as their research on polar refreezing techniques requires a lot of processing power. 1 week ago, one of their mainframes started acting funny after a power surge, and a second mainframe started having the same problem a day before. Previous technologies involve pumping seawater to the surface and refreezing it, but if the experiments are successful, the solar deflection arrays won't just reverse the melt. They will stop it before it starts, which will keep the greenhouse gases stored in the permafrost from escaping and making things worse. But none of that matters unless they can figure out what's gone wrong, because if the problem is not fixed, they will lose all their data, which they have been working on for 3 years. The problem could be mechanical, or maybe it's sabotage. They are suddenly interrupted by 2 polar bears with cybernetic implants on their heads, breaking into the facility and attacking the scientists. Clark changes to Superman in no time and stops the bears, remarking that he was in the neighborhood and heard about the problem. He lifts the bears and flies out of the facility, but the bears suddenly vanish, apparently teleported away. Later on, Superman says that the one responsible behind this mess didn't leave any heat signature behind, and no underground bunkers either, and that's when he is suddenly interrupted by a giant robot, which comes out from under the snow, telling Superman to comply with verbal directions. Superman wonders how the robot managed to hide from his X-ray vision, remarking that this will not going to end the way the robot thinks. The robot keeps repeating the same message, then punches Superman, who doesn't budge, and tosses the robot away effortlessly. Knowing that it has no chance beating Superman, the robot turns its attention to the station, but Superman interrupts it again, and that's when the robot hits the ground, trying to destroy the station. But Superman uses his super breath to freeze the split. But he then hears someone admiring his work, remarking that with exactly 17.6 more of Superman working 12-hour shifts, he could freeze the Arctic ice sheet on his own. Kilgore reveals himself to be the one behind these attacks, with Superman remarking that the robot must have gotten some upgrades, and Kilgore confirms that, saying that he has been waiting to deploy them against Superman. The robot says that their meeting was inevitable, because Superman always shows up when innocent lives are in danger. Superman asks Kilgore how he managed to hide that robot, and Kilgore says by using a unique polymer that mimics the density of the ice, making it invisible to radar and to Superman as well. Kilgore didn't expect the robot to win, but after the fight, he obtains gigabytes of data about Superman's speed and combat patterns that he didn't have before the fight. Kilgore punches Superman and manages to knock him meters away, remarking that Superman may have superior strength and speed, but his understanding of machine intelligence is still very limited. Superman attacks Kilgore with great speed and delivers a punch, but Kilgore intercepts Superman's blow, then tosses him away. Superman tells Kilgore that he may be able to anticipate his moves, but he can't outfight him, and Kilgore says that he also knows that Superman will not kill him because of his irrational rules, and asks why he does not join him. When all this ice melts, the entire North will be opened for trade, and container ships will be sailing from America to Asia in a single day, and machine life forms will gain access to uninterrupted supplies of energy. Kilgore tells Superman that he is standing in the way because of his sentimentality, but Superman says that protecting the planet he loves, which is home to trillions of living things who have nowhere else to go, has nothing to do with sentimentality. Kilgore tells Superman that he is not protecting anything, and that he just fears the world that is to come. the world in which the limited decision-making capabilities of the human mind are replaced by the superior cognition of machines. In that world, Superman will be a very small and irrelevant idea, like the clay gods the human race once worshipped in its ignorance. Kilgore then cracks the ice, revealing that he has controlled cybernetically modified orcas that leap out of the water to attack the research center. But Superman interferes again and uses his breath to create an ice barrier to keep the orcas away. Superman then attacks Kilgore, who says that he thought the orcas would keep Superman occupied for additional 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Kilgore then holds Superman and tells him that he is repeating his attacks and that he can anticipate his moves, but he shouldn't be surprised because this is what most life forms do. Kilgore then notices that Superman is staring at his chest, with Superman saying that he didn't attack him to defeat him, but to get close enough to damage his inner circuitry with his heat vision, as Kilgore's polymer may hide something that Superman does not know is there, but he can still look through it when it's standing in front of him. Collapsing, Kilgore says that this means nothing, because the polar ice will still melt and the waters will rise, but Superman says that he will be right there when this happens to save the day. Kilgore tells Superman that he doesn't have the courage to terminate him, but Superman lifts the robot with one arm, remarking that being stronger than the enemies doesn't take any courage to kill them. It takes courage to let them live, and to give them little time out, before tossing Kilgore into low orbit. I could be wrong, but it seems that Kilgore's design is inspired by the design of Death's Head II from Marvel. Hope you liked the video. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like. Thanks for watching, and have a nice one.